Thank you for tuning in to another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast about public relations and marketing pros working independently or as micro agencies or as virtual teams, as all of the above. We just do it all. My name is Michelle Kane. I'm with Voice Matters LLC, and my fantastic co-host is Karen Swim of Words for Hire and head honcho at Solo PR Pro, the virtual tribe that pulls us all together as solos. And here we are, Karen. It is almost the end of the year. We've got a couple of weeks left to this decade even.
That is so scary to actually contemplate because it's gone so fast.
It has. And I don't feel like we had a whole lot of build up to this one. I mean, there's no Y2K to worry about, or we're just all distracted with all the nonsense happening. It's just, it's like, oh yeah, there's a zero next year.
There is a zero next year. And, to be honest with you, I'm actually very excited for 2020. And I am
Me too.
already, I'm so ready to pull the plug on this year. And, we shut down the last couple of weeks of the year. And I have to tell you that my brain is ready to shut down today. Like, can it be over? Can this year be over today, please?
No.
Yeah,
No.
it can't.
No, this time of year, it's like running the gauntlet, and I've even, slowed my holiday roll, so to speak. I'm not as ridiculous as I've been in years past. If we do that baking this weekend, and then we do this, then we do that, and I'm just like, okay, client work is important. Some holiday stuff's important. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I've been thinking, wow, these past 10 years, I think my company turns 10 the end of this year, beginning of next.
Wow.
So that's kind of wild, and the wild ride that started that. And I almost feel like I have a little muscle memory of, as I've shared before, my company was a recession baby. So just kind of like the drama and the angst that made this company happen. I feel like I have to almost process and shake it to enter this new decade. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
At all. Yeah, I find myself just kind of going back there thinking, oh, no.
Yeah. Wow.
Of how I got here. So I need to take some time to process that and use that to energize the new decade.
Well, it's interesting that you said that because today our topic is year-end business tips. And as always happens with us, some of them are tactical, but some of them are actually more about, mindset. And so you brought up something, and it's actually something that I've been doing for a couple weeks now. I had to slow down my pace because of a life event, but I very intentionally.
That wasn't it. That's just Belle.
That's just
she's
my
being
dog.
intentional. Yeah, she's being intentional about her year-end too. She'll have some tips for.
So I very intentionally did not ramp the pace back up because I made a decision to lean into the slow pace for the rest of the year so that I could take some time to heal, but also to think and to just, take a deep breath and say, okay, you know what? These slow periods are a gift. And after, being in business for more than 15 years, you really do realize that. And you realize they're a gift and they don't last very long. And so I have been really using the time to just kind of allow myself to, think about, okay, where am I with my business? Have my interest shifted? Are there things that are no longer fulfilling? As I look back over, this year and the past couple of years, are there clients that have really energized me? And are there clients that have really drained me? Just really doing sort of that assessment, that sort of checkup without having it be incredibly formal first. The first step was really just kind of mulling those ideas over and just, allowing the breath and the space to just think about it and kind of turn it over in your head before you sort of commit things to paper. And it's such, I really do believe that this should be something that you do no less than one time per year, because the
Hmm.
insights that are yielded from that process of just allowing yourself to be creative around your own
Right.
business, those are things that we don't always make time for in our calendars. And so at the end of the year, it's a good time because there is definitely a period of frenzy, but then there's a period of quiet. So you have at least, a week or two where you can really begin to process. And for me, starting the process earlier, I was ready to move into then, kind of starting to put it on paper and to kind of mind map out, okay, what do I
Hmm.
really actually want in 2020? Not what other people think that I should have, not what everybody says is the vision of success, but really what do I want and what's going to be important to me? And so I definitely think that that would be my number one, one of my top business tips to do at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a very important point, and it's something that I know you echo, and Kelly before you has echoed in our Solo PR Pro group. We are the designers of our own business. We can have it be whatever we want it to be. We get to decide who we want to work with, what type of client we want to work with, how we choose to work with them, and that's such a beautiful thing. And at the same time, though, like as you alluded to, as you're doing it all or building the business, um, you're just so focused on that sometimes taking that time to just sit, stare at a wall, let your thoughts wander and think, how's this working for me? Is this working for me the same way I'm working? Are you working the same way
Yeah.
you were working 5 years ago? And is that still the most productive way for you to be working? And yeah, I know I'm one who I don't have not that I have a short attention span, but I like variety, which is partly why I enjoy working this way. I get to know all types of businesses and, different ways of different companies and things. But, at the same time, I have to consider, okay, what will I want in this new year? And will it be the same? Will I want to tweak anything? Will I want to change anything up? Will I want to seek anyone out? And you'll have to excuse me. I feel a cough coming on. That's why I sound
That's
weird right now.
okay. Exactly. And I think that I I, I really honestly believe, because really at our core, I believe that all PR professionals are creative. And we're
Right.
creative in different ways. Our creativity manifests in different ways, but creative people do, they need nourishment, right? And we like variety, we like change, and we, I've even heard of many PR people who have had long-term relationships with
Hmm.
clients. And when I say long-term, I mean 10, 15 years. You have to keep finding ways to change it up to keep yourself motivated. So
Yeah.
I think that that's a good point, that you said that for us, especially because we do crave that variety, that it's important to make sure that you're getting that part of yourself fed, in a way that's fulfilling to you. And that's going to look different for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. But like you say, this time of year, it's a good time of year to look at that fine tuning, maybe even alter habits. I
Yes.
know, right? That's another year-end business tip. What habits do I need to alter? It could be anything from, how do you schedule your week? How many meetings do you take? How many meetings do you take that are to nourish your business or that is potentially new business? How many meetings are, well, okay, yeah, I have that time. I want to be helpful. What should you be saying no to? So you can say, I'm going to sound all woo woo, yes to yourself, but it's true.
Yeah, it's true. I
That
mean,
kind
I
of
looked
thing.
at, my own task, and I, have been able to identify some things, and I'm like, why am I doing that? Why am I not
Right.
delegating that to
Right.
my
Yeah.
assistant? And again, it's just, we know it. We all know these things intuitively. We know it as we're working, but we're working, we're getting it done.
Right.
And it's like, okay, got to do this, got to do this.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it feels faster to just keep doing what you've been doing. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have to explain this to anybody. I don't have time to like tell
Exactly.
somebody that I need this. And I
Exactly.
mean, I'm just going to be 100% transparent and say, me too.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing, which is exactly how I ended up going, why am I doing this? Because I finally gave myself a moment to say, that's really stupid. Like, you're spending your time doing something that you have people that could actually do this. So give it away and free up your time and space. So like many people in our audience, I'm not afraid to say that even though I've been doing this for a long time, I still make those same mistakes too. And it's okay. So don't feel bad about it.
Oh,
It's
no.
just year end, if no other time during the year, it's a nice checkpoint
Yes.
to check in on things like that.
Yes. No, absolutely. I'm the same way. I think, "Oh, I didn't leave enough lead time to hand this off to someone else," and also, "Oh, I can do it in 5 minutes myself." Well, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, next thing you know, "Ugh, okay, there goes
Yeah.
another day," and here we are. So yeah, I'm guilty in the same way.
Yeah, we all are. And I think that's, one of the things that I love about doing this podcast is that I feel like we're pretty genuine. We're
Oh,
not
yeah.
hiding. We're sharing
My
the
life is
good, the bad, and the
perfect.
dog barks along the way.
My business is perfect. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? No, and I like that we are keeping it real and making this a safe space. Of just like, hey, we question ourselves. We, might end up doing things in ways that we think, oh, yeah, why am I making life so hard? Why am I making life so hard for myself? That's crazy. But then there's
Yeah.
other things that we totally rock. So yeah,
It's true.
yeah, you know. So other
So,
things for year end.
yeah.
Catching up on the dreaded bookkeeping, getting your accounting in order, figuring out because I do love that the fourth quarter tax quarterlies aren't due until January. So it gives you a little
Yes.
time to play with that. Just kind of
Well, I'll
getting
throw
that
another
everything in
one
order.
out there for you.
Yeah,
So we
go ahead.
know about, kind of getting yourself ready for the taxes and all that, but year end, you actually should also be doing your own profitability statement. And so sometimes we think about profitability in terms of what we're getting paid and whether or not we're going to do an increase for new clients or even an increase on existing clients for next year, what the budgets are going to be. But you also need to make sure that that account is actually profitable for you. So you may be satisfied with that dollar amount on the invoice, but are you spending all kinds of extra time that's not being accounted for that makes that account less profitable than other clients that have the same budget or a lower budget? Because sometimes that can be true. Sometimes you can have a client that's at like an intermediate type budget and they're more profitable because there's less administrative work. Maybe they are, not micromanagers, and maybe they are truly collaborative and see you as a partner, and they're less hoops to jump through and other little nuances that make them take up less time. And I hesitate to use the words easy and difficult because I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. And I also don't want to ever paint that picture of, the quote unquote difficult client. I don't want to portray it like that. That's kind of
Right.
not fair
No.
because sometimes they're, not to say that there aren't difficult people in the world, and some of them may end up being your clients, but I don't want to set up this bad client, good client sort of scenario, but
No.
more of the nuances about the time that you might not be accounting for or some of the additional tasks. Sometimes a client may have an organizational structure that requires a lot more steps. And so I think it's healthy to really begin to look at deeper than just the invoice amount and make sure that that client really is profitable for you.
Right. And it all goes back to that energy spend, the mental energy, the time, energy, that you're spending on someone. And also, like you said, it's a gray spectrum. It's not a black and white situation of, they might be a fantastic client, fantastic company, but if it's not really worth your time and effort, if you're not making that profit that you want to, it's a difficult thing to look at, but it's important to do to serve both you and your company well.
I agree.
So they would probably do the same. It would go both ways.
This is very true. It does go both ways. And as we have talked about on here a number of times, it's really about making those business decisions, right? It's us taking this
Mhm.
time at year end, and even if you are a truly solo practice, I know that that doesn't describe many people today, but even if you're a truly solo practice, and it's just you, which means that you're also, you're doing the strategy and the tactical. At this time of year,
Mhm.
you do need to allow yourself to really just live in that CEO role and look at your
Mhm.
business, from that vantage point, from that high level, and think about your business as a business, and is it running the way that you want it to, because it's yours. And
Right.
you said it, and I think people can't hear this enough. You can listen to people, you can take advice, you can read books, you can, go to seminars and workshops, but ultimately you have to shape your business to fit you, and it may not look
Right.
exactly like someone else's. We certainly can be inspired by other people's ideas or success stories, and I've certainly, I still do this. I see something
Mhm.
that somebody else is doing that really resonates with me, and I'm like, that's great, I think I want to incorporate that. But the whole of
Right.
my business and the whole of your business and anybody else's business is never going to look exactly the same.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's just important to take that time for yourself.
Yeah.
Consider it, a little year-end retreat or something. Take yourself out for a holiday lunch or happy hour afterwards. Let's dangle that carrot.
I
'Tis the
I
season.
love that. And one of the things that I really love about Michelle is she is social and she knows how to. She is. You are, Michelle. Michelle is social.
Sometimes when I want to, sometimes when I don't want to.
Yeah,
We
but
just do
here's
it.
the difference between you and me. You actually do it when
Mm.
you don't exactly feel like
Ugh.
it. I do not.
Not there are times. There are times. Unfortunately, I had something earlier today and my day went, or sorry, rather earlier this week, and my day went long, and I was just like, "Oh, no, I am just not gonna be." Not that I was in a terrible mood, I just knew. I thought, "Oh, no. I'll be this little black cloud entering the room." No one
Aw.
wants that.
And I could never even imagine that from you, but yeah, it's we had the chance to talk with Caitlin on a recent
Yes.
podcast, and she said something that is so true. How often we don't stop to celebrate. We don't celebrate
Yes.
the moments.
Oh,
We don't, and
gosh, yeah.
you know, I think one business tip is, make that a part of your routine for
Yeah.
2020. Make sure to make some time to celebrate the moments, celebrate the wins. And, like Michelle said, take yourself for a business retreat, give yourself that time and space to be strategic about your own business, to be creative, to think about your brand. I know
Yes.
I've been, making some tweaks to my own brand, and I still have a lot to do. And yes, it can be overwhelming when you look at the big picture, like, oh my God, I need to redo everything. But I've really just kind
Right.
of taken it in small parts, and you can too. And that's one thing that
Yes.
I love about spending time with yourself. And, just as we did in the corporate world, and we get outside of our day to day, and we get re-energized, and we allow new ideas to kind of enter our mind, because now we've given it an environment where that can happen.
And I think, using this time of year when email slows down or it gets really quiet,
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm, looking forward to hunkering down and doing a little ed calendar for myself and my business.
Yes.
We often become, what is it, the cobbler's shoes or the mechanic's car of, oh yeah, I should be practicing when I'm preaching. I wonder what would happen.
Yes.
Oh, if, people saw me out there more in different ways. And I think, if you lay out your groundwork and plan out your, your social posts, your blog content. Now you're more apt to actually do it. And that's another good habit to create, of taking maybe a half hour every day, or, chunk it up and, take an hour and plan out your week, and just, start promoting yourself a little bit. And if you're not already doing that, of course, and see what happens.
Absolutely. And even if you're already doing that, I don't want to reveal exactly what, because I've already started doing something to sort of
Ooh,
change the aesthetic of my brand. Let's just say that. And
ooh,
it's been really
fun.
fun.
Can't
So you don't have to
Now I'm
wait until
intrigued.
2020 to start pulling little tweaks, and you can do things right now. And
Yeah.
I love that. And, you can pick a habit, like Michelle said, to change. For me, I do not know why I torture myself week after week with writing a blog post the day before I actually need it. It is the worst habit
Well,
in the world, but it's the one thing that keeps getting pushed to the bottom of the
right,
calendar. And in 2020, I vow not to do that, because first, and it would be okay if it was okay, right? It's okay if that
right,
works for your workflow and your style. What it actually
right.
does for me is it makes me crazy and it stresses me out. And
Yeah.
it's me making myself crazy. Why? I mean, is this not the
Well, I
definition of insanity? Like, you have a habit, you're doing something to yourself that drives you crazy. I can't even blame anyone. Like, I have nobody to blame.
let me pull out my I almost was a therapist. Okay. Deep down, you can just get it done. So you're like, okay, yeah, okay. Triaging your week. So, all right, I can do that. I can do that then. I can do that then. It's not that you're, eating bonbons, or,
True.
you know, watching Home Shopping
No.
24/7. You're doing other things. But I know that too, because I have been in that seat too, as you know, of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get this blog post done.
And
Why do I do this? I don't. I can't answer for myself either. And I know, I'm like, well, because I
it's
can get it
one of the
done.
things that Amazon doesn't
Ugh,
deliver.
that's
I rely on
right.
Amazon for so many
Could you
things.
deliver some content
They
to me,
do not
please?
deliver weekly blog posts, but I bet if I looked hard enough, I could find it.
Get on it, Amazon. I don't want to say Alexa, because she might hear me and she'll start podcasting with us.
Yes. Come on, Amazon. Come through with the blog post.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh my.
Well, so any other tips,
I know. That's what I'm
Michelle?
trying to think. It's like, okay, what else can we do? Uh Gosh. I mean, I think just, it's a great time to reevaluate. It's a great time to get organized for the new year. Even aesthetically, check out those
Yes.
after Christmas sales. Spruce up your work area a little bit. Treat yourself. And that also speaks to, make sure,
Yes.
let's say we have enough business expenses in our P&L, order that copy paper before December 31st. The practical
Yeah.
things, right? Order that coffee for the break room.
And I have to say that's a good one too, to look at your business expenses.
Yeah.
As solos, we're always advising, to be efficient with your costs. And of course you want to do that. But, it was funny. This week I was looking at a product, and you can, you can purchase this thing annually. And so it was a one-time spend, and annually was a lot cheaper than the monthly price.
Right.
And I hesitated. And then I had to say to myself, I was like, oh my God, stop cheaping out on yourself. Buy it, because this thing, if you win this one account because of this tool, it's going to pay for itself like 1,000 times over. So stop it. But I had to say that to myself, because as solos, we sometimes get in that mindset of so very carefully watching our expenses
Right.
that we can really hinder ourselves. And that was that moment for me. And that doesn't mean that you spend like crazy, but look at
No.
the things that you really need, and then start to look at expenses. Sometimes a one-time expense, you have to look at, what's that expense going to deliver me? Same as
Right.
our clients do when they're hiring us. They look at
Right.
that, and we're determining the value, and sometimes that value is definitely worth it. So don't deny yourself tools and resources and things that
Make your life
can
easier.
actually move your business forward
Yeah.
because you're looking at that, initial price.
Right, right. And at the same time, at the other end of that scope, I neglected to set a Google Calendar reminder that I had a product on auto renew. And when it renewed, I went, what? Say what now? What's that transaction
Yeah.
on my account? So it's all right. We made it work out all
Set
right.
those reminders.
Yes.
That will hit you. And sometimes, they're like, I canceled a subscription this week
Yeah.
because I love it and it's very useful when I need it.
Right.
But I actually don't need it now.
Right.
So I was able to catch it before the renewal date. And
Good.
so that's really smart.
Yes, yes, I vowed. I now have a Google reminder on my calendar the week prior to check into it. So
And
anytime.
I actually had my VA make me a big spreadsheet of all of my tools, resources, and amounts and
Smart.
renewal dates.
Smart.
Yeah. Good way to use a VA,
There
people.
you go. You've got it going on. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I think I don't have anything else. Do you? Except to wish everyone everything merry and bright and happy. And we may do one more cast before the year's out. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But
Yes.
but
Absolutely.
yeah.
We'll keep this train rolling for you guys. And yeah, I mean, some of the typical stuff you already know, so we
Right.
didn't want to cover that. We just
No.
wanted to sort of
No one wants to
inspire
hear
you
that.
with some things that you might not have thought of.
And
You're so
also,
funny.
we're sure our listeners are super smart and savvy. So we'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Year-end, what are your year-end business rituals and things that you do to end the year strong and start the new year fresh and energized. We would love to hear from you. So you can hit us up at soloprpro.com or in the comments on Podbean. That would be super.
Yes. And here's a gift that you can give us. Not that you were thinking of it, but it doesn't cost you anything. If you like this podcast, we so appreciate you rating it and giving us a review on iTunes.
Oh, yes, please. We don't ask for much.
We don't ask for much.
Just your love. Anyway, well, we thank you so much for joining us yet again. We hope that you are getting something out of these sessions of information and tips and just, hey, you're not in this alone. That's kind of what we really look to provide for you. And it's really an honor that we do have people listening. So we're very excited about that and the opportunity to bring it to you. So until next time on That Solo Life, have a great week.